सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। ॐ यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। Let us chant from 11 to 20. सर्वद्वारेषु देहेऽस्मिन् प्रकाश उपजायते ज्ञानं यदा तदा विद्यात् विवृद्धं सत्त्वमित्युत लोभः प्रवृत्तिरारम्भः कर्मणामशमस्पृहा रजस्येतानि जायन्ते विवृद्धे भरतर्षभ अप्रकाशो प्रवृत्तिश्च प्रमादो मोह एव च विवृद्धे कुरु नन्दन यदा सत्त्वे प्रवृद्धे तु प्रलयं याति देहभृत् तदोत्तमविदां लोकान् अमलान् प्रतिपद्यते रजसे प्रलयं गत्वा कर्मसङ्गिषु जायते तथा प्रलीनस्तमसि मूढयोनिषु जायते कर्मणः सुकृतस्याहुः सात्विकं निर्मलं फलं रजसस्तु फलं दुःखम् अज्ञानं तमसः फलं सत्त्वात् सञ्जायते ज्ञानं प्रमादमोहौ तमसः भवतो ज्ञानमेव च ऊर्ध्वं गच्छन्ति सत्त्वस्थाः मध्ये तिष्ठन्ति राजसाः जघन्यगुणवृत्तिस्थाः अधो गच्छन्ति तामसाः नान्यं गुणेभ्यः कर्तारं यदा द्रष्टानुपश्यति गुणेभ्यश्च परं वेत्ति मद्भावं सोऽधिगच्छति गुणानेतानतीत्यत्रीन् देही देहसमुद्भवान् जन्म मृत्युजरा दुःखैः विमुक्तोऽमृतमश्नुते. Let us briefly see the thought flow of the entire 14th chapter. So the chapter begins with a promise from Bhagavan. Bhagavan says, Arjuna, once again, this highest spiritual knowledge, param jnanam, uttamam jnanam, knowledge which is highest because it deals with the highest, knowledge which is highest because it bestows the highest. So therefore, param uttamam jnanam I'll give you, knowing which one becomes free from the birth and death cycle. One becomes one with me. He becomes God. So how is the topic introduced? So Bhagavan explains the two principles with which the whole creation comes about. So one is the consciousness principle, the other is the matter principle. So there Bhagavan uses a metaphor of father and mother. Just like father and mother come together to bring about children, in the same way, the whole creation comes about with a combination of consciousness and matter. Then Bhagavan says, each and every individual, we are none other than infinite, immortal, blissful consciousness. But we have been tied down, bound by this matter principle, which is nothing but the body, mind and intellect. This matter expresses itself as sattva, rajas and tamas. So since this bondage is a psychological bondage, it is not a real bondage, it is a mind-born bondage. This bondage has to be understood. So in order to understand this bondage, we must have a thorough understanding of the content of the mind, the nature of the mind. So then comes the description of three different moods of the mind, the three different gunas, the sattva, rajas and tamas, and how the mind behaves according to the moods. So what are the 5 topics we have seen? The characteristics of a sattvic mind, rajasic mind and a tamasic mind. Lakshana, we have seen that. And then next one, bandhana prakara. How a particular mood, sattva, rajas and tamas, how in a particular mood we are bound. Each of these moods are capable of giving us happiness. Tamasic mood has got a tamasic happiness, rajasic mood has got a rajasic happiness, sattvic mood has got a sattvic happiness, and all these happiness they bind us. So that we have seen bandhana prakara. The third one was lingam. When we are in a particular mood, how do we behave? When we are in a particular mood, how to recognize the mood? Lingam means indicator. How to recognize which mood we are in. That is lingam. And then phalam. Under the influence of a particular mood, when we perform activities, what is the end result of those actions? That is phalam. And the last one is gatihi, at the time of death. When a particular mood predominates, after death, where does that jiva go? The course of travel after death. So these are the 5 topics which Bhagavan discusses. Ultimately, Bhagavan concludes that whatever be the mood, the person is bound. Sattva also binds, rajas also binds, tamas also binds. Binds means there is no freedom from birth-death cycle. Then how to come out? The coming out technique is given in 19th and 20th verse, which we had discussed yesterday. So what is the technique of coming out? The technique of coming out is try to know yourself who you are. Each and every one of us, we are none other than consciousness. We have nothing to do with the mind, the body or the intellect. We have nothing to do with the trigunas. So what has to be done? Be a drashta, a seer, be a witness. So when you are a witness, what happens? You are disidentifying yourself with your matter envelopments. So yesterday we had seen the properties of consciousness. Consciousness doesn't do anything, it only enlivens the body, mind, intellect. It doesn't do anything, it is just in a state of being. All the actions are performed by the body, mind, intellect. Those actions they perform because that is their nature. And who am I? I am only the consciousness which lends sentiency, which enlivens the 3 equipments without doing anything. Now one may ask, this enlivening, is it an action? Then we say, no, enlivening is not an action. It is only the nature of consciousness. There is no action involved. Just like fire cooks food. Is it an action? Can you call it as a verb? Fire is cooking. Just like I am walking, bird is flying. They are all verb. There is an action involved. Similarly, can you say consciousness is enlivening? No. There is a difference. What is the difference? When we say fire cooks food, is there some doing happening? There is no doing, there is only being. Fire is just there. In the presence of fire, the food is cooked. Are you able to understand the difference? When we say bird is flying, bird may fly, bird may not fly. The choice is there. It may perform action, it may not perform action. When I am walking, I may walk, I may not walk. Choice is there. But you cannot say fire may burn, fire may not burn. No. It is in a state of being. Fire is giving heat. That giving heat is its nature. It is not a verb. Just like sun is giving heat and light. It is not an action. It is a state of being. Mirror is reflecting. That reflecting is not an action. It is a state of being. Are you able to understand? In the same way, when we say consciousness enlivens the body, mind, intellect, that enlivening is not an action, it is a state of being. So who am I? I am consciousness which in a state of being is enlivening the body, mind, intellect. All those actions which the body, mind, intellect do, those actions are according to the nature of BMI. Those actions have nothing to do with me. So how to practice it at the seat of meditation? Shift your attention to consciousness. Disidentify from thoughts. Pay attention to consciousness. Don't get identified with thoughts. When you get identified with thoughts, you are identifying yourself with the BMI. Identifying with the BMI will give you an experience that actions of the BMI belong to you. You are performing action. This, wrong notion enters into the mind. So when your attention is totally upon consciousness, you come to know that you have nothing to do with the BMI or the actions performed by the BMI. You are merely a presence which is of the nature of consciousness, which is awareness. In your presence, things are happening. You are not doing anything. Everything is happening. So such a person who has totally identified with the consciousness, his jiva bhava goes away. The ego completely dies, because ego is born out of identification. Consciousness identified with BMI brings about jiva, brings about karma, brings about karta, brings about bhokta, and brings about all the other birth, death, cycle. Everything belongs to this karta. Everything belongs to this ego. The moment you disidentify, that very moment the ego is dead, the samsari is dead. Such a person becomes free from birth, death, cycle. Actually, the topic is over here, but now Arjuna asks a question. What is that question? Let us see. Verse number 21. Kairlingaistrīn gunānētān atīto bhavati prabho kimacarah katham chaitān त्रीन् गुणानति वर्तते. कैर्लिङ्गैस्त्रीन् गुणानेतान् अतीतो भवति प्रभो किमाचारः कथं चैतान् त्रीन् गुणानतिवर्तते. What is the question? Bhagavan etan trīn gunan atitaha, the one who has gone beyond these three gunas, such a Gunātīta person, the realized person. Kaihi lingaihi bhavati, what are his characteristics? How do we know that a person has gone beyond the three gunas? What are the lakshanas? Kim acharah bhavati, what are his, what you call, behavioral pattern? How does he behave? How does he live in this world? How does he respond to the situations of this world? And then, Hey Prabhu, katham etan trīn gunan ativartate, how can we go above these three gunas? So, three questions. What is the first one? What are the indicators that a person has become Gunātīta? Second one, how does he transact in this world? And third one, how to become a Gunātīta? Three questions are asked by Arjuna. Now, Bhagavan starts answering these questions. 22 and 23 answers the first question. 24-25 answers the second, and 26 answers the third. So let us chant 22 and 23, which answers the first question. Shri Bhagavanuvacha Prakasham cha pravrittim cha Mohameva cha Pandava na dveshtis sampravrittani na nivrittani kankshati udāsīna vadāsīnaha gunairyo na vichalyate guna vartanta ityeva yovatisthati nengate prakāṣam ca pravrittim ca mohameva ca pandava na dveshti sampravrittani na nivrittani kankshate gunairyo na vichalyate guna vartanta ityeva yovatisthati nengate. Yes. So how does a Gunātīta person, what are the indications? What are the linga? Linga here, no indication. What is the indication that a person has become Gunātīta? So in this chapter he is called Gunātīta. In the second chapter he is called a Sthitaprajña. Now they are all one and the same. A realized man, an enlightened man, a spiritual master who has become free from birth, death, who has become one with the divine. So now there is a description. What is being described? Bhagavan says, Prakāṣam pravrittim moham. Prakāṣam represents sattva, pravritti represents rajas, moha represents tamas. Bhagavan says all these three will be there in that Mahātmā also. Sattva will be there, rajas will be there, tamas will be there. What is our misunderstanding? Such a person will be 100% sattvic. No. Even a Mahātmā also will have a mind which will have all these three compositions. Because mind is made up of matter. Matter is sattva, rajas, tamas. So his mind also will be there. No doubt, sattva will be maximum, no doubt. But it doesn't mean there won't be any rajas and tamas. And you will find this person under the influence. Externally, it appears as though he is under the influence of sattva, rajas and tamas. But what is the difference between an ordinary person and a Mahātmā? The difference is na dveshti sampravrittani na nivrittani kankshati. What is the difference? Sampravrittani, when it is active, na dveshti, he doesn't hate it. So what are the things to be hated? Rajas and tamas. When he is under the influence of rajas and tamas, he will not put forth effort to remove it. Normally all the sadhakas, immature seekers, what will they do? When the rajas and tamas is coming, he becomes very disturbed. All efforts are made to overcome it, transcend it. But here, the Mahātmā doesn't do anything. It comes, he doesn't hate it. Na nivrittani kankshati. And when sattva comes, what is the attitude of a seeker? He wants the sattva to be always. But when it goes away, what is our attitude? We crave for it. We don't want the sattva to go, we crave for sattva. What about him? When it goes, nivrittani na kankshati. He doesn't crave for it. In short, his happiness has nothing to do with the state of the mind. He is not deriving happiness from sattvic mind. Where is he deriving happiness from? He is deriving happiness from the self, which is Ananda Swarupa. A seeker is deriving happiness from the sattvic mind. Therefore, he craves for the sattvic mind. Because once the sattvic mind is gone, his Ananda is also gone. So therefore, he craves. What about a Mahātmā? His happiness doesn't come from sattvic mind. His happiness comes from the abidance of the self. The self is of the nature of Sat Chit Ananda. Ananda is the nature of the self. You need not have a sattvic mind to experience that Ananda. No doubt a Mahātmā will have sattvic mind most of the time. Why? Because he was also a seeker in the past. He has trained the mind to be in sattva, so that samskaras are there. But he doesn't crave for that sattvic mind. This is the point. Moreover, a Mahātmā is the one who has understood the falsity of the mind. Mind is nothing but an illusion. Manasam tu kim margane krute naiva manasam marga arjava. He has done this self-enquiry, and what did he find in himself? This mind which appears to be so real. He has inquired into this mind, and what did he find? He has found that naiva manasam, mind is nothing but an illusion. So therefore, he will never give reality to any illusion. Just like we don't give reality to mirage waters. Water is seen. It appears very much like water, and you may be thirsty also, but will you chase that water? No, because you know there is no water. In the same way, a Mahātmā may experience a sattvic mind, but he knows there is nothing called this mind. It is just an appearance. So therefore, how does it matter whether it is sattvic, rajasic or tamasic? After all, it's an illusion. Where is the attention of this Mahātmā? His attention is not upon the illusory mind. His attention is upon the consciousness, which is the ultimate reality. So therefore, these passing phases of the mind, he doesn't pay any attention to. Then what is his attitude? Udāsīnavat āsīnaha. He is seated, āsīnaha. How? Udāsīnavat. Udāsīna means what? The term udāsīna is very interesting. It literally means the the one who is indifferent. But the term come from the two terms ut plus asīnaha. Ut means high, asīn means to sit. The one who is seated at the higher, that is the meaning udāsīna. Ut asīnaha, udāsīnaha. So where is he seated? Which is the lower and which is the higher? The lower is the matter, the mind. The higher is the consciousness. So he is seated in consciousness. He is seated at the higher level. And since he is seated at the higher, he doesn't pay much attention to the lower. That's all. An ordinary person is bogged down by the states of the mind, very much disturbed by the fluctuations of the mind, because he has given mind the maximum reality. For him, mind is absolutely real. But for a Mahātmā, mind is absolutely unreal. To give a very simple example, a coconut tree, is it a big tree or a small tree? It is a big tree. Why do you feel it's big? Because you are comparing itself with all the other trees. But suppose you are standing on the top of a mountain and seeing the very same tree. What do you see? It is small. The tree which you are calling big now has become small. Why has it become small? Everything is relative. Compared to the huge mountain, this is nothing. The question is where you are. Where are you? What is your standpoint? What is the knowledge with which you are looking at the world? This matters. So an ignorant person, he doesn't know anything about consciousness. He knows only about the mind. And say, therefore, mind appears to be a huge monster. What about a Mahātmā? He is rooted in consciousness. For him, mind is nothing but an illusion. Udāsīna vadāsīnaha, therefore, gunaihi yaha na vichalyate. He is not vichalyate, swayed, disturbed, shaken by these gunas, sattva, rajas and tamas. What is his understanding? Guna vartante iti eva yaha avatishtati na ingate. Avatishtati is firmly seated. What is his understanding? Gunaha vartante. These three equipments, the body, the mind, the intellect, they are made of three gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas. What is this world made of? Three gunas. So what is happening now? The thinking is happening. According to the thinking, the body is functioning. And where is the body functioning? In the world. So, gunaha guneshu vartante. The three gunas are interacting with the three gunas. The three gunas, namely the body, mind, intellect, they are interacting with the three gunas, namely the world. Gunas interacting with gunas. This is his understanding. Then who are you? I am a mere witness who is not involved in this drama at all. I am just an observer. So many things are happening on the stage. I am just watching. Why should I unnecessarily involve? I have nothing to do with guna. I am consciousness in the presence of which these gunas are enlivened and they are operational. This is his state. Absolute objectivity. So if we can put one word, what is the indicator of a Mahātmā? Indicator of a Gunātīta is absolute objectivity. He sees his own body, mind, intellect as a part of the world, as a part of gunas, three gunas. And therefore, na ingate, he is not disturbed. All the disturbances is at the level of the mind. So in a Mahātmā, you will find all this. Tamas also you will find externally. So he will also, after heavy lunch, he will also feel sleepy. He will sleep also. And sometimes he is very active also. Now looking at the outer thing, don't say, see, he is feeling sleepy. That means, that means what? he is not a Mahātmā, because tamas. Sometimes he will make mistake also. All those things which you find in an ordinary ignorant man, you will find in them also. There will be mistakes, there will be errors. He will also appear to get angry. When you see that Mahātmā, there are very many people. When Pujya Gurudev used to get angry, they would say, what Mahātmā is this? He is getting angry. That means he is not realized. We give certificate to Mahātmās. Externally, nobody can make out who is a Mahātmā, who is not a Mahātmā. Shankaracharya here gives in the commentary, he says, nobody can say who is a Mahātmā, who is not a Mahātmā. You can only say about yourself. That's all. External behavior can never give any indications regarding these things. It is absolutely subjective. There are Mahātmās who are very, very active. There are Mahātmās who are very, very inactive. All varieties of Mahātmās you will find in this world. Right. These are all general indications. Subjectively you will know. Yes. Are you a Mahātmā? Yes. I will know whether I am a Mahātmā or not. When the ego is dead, yes. It is absolutely subjective. You cannot guess about others. Of course, a Mahātmā might guess about another Mahātmā. That's a different thing. But an ignoramus can never certify these things. Yes. So this is about the indication. Now what is his behavior? Kim acharaha? How does he behave? Yes. Verse number 24 and 25. Samadukha sukha swasthaha samaloštashma kanchanaha tulya priya priyo dhiraha tulya nindatma samstutihi mānāpamānayostulyaha tulyo mitrāripakshayoho sarvārambha parityāgi Gunātīta sa uchyate samadukha sukha swasthaha samaloštashma kanchanaha tulya nindatma samstutihi mānāpamānayostulyaha tulyo mitrāripakshayoho sarvārambha parityāgi Gunātīta sa uchyate. Yes. So how does he behave? What are his conduct? In different situations, how does he behave? So if one term can be used, it is samatvam, equanimity. Samadukha sukha. Sukha and dukkha come to him also. According to the prarabdha, sukha also comes to him, dukkha also comes to him. But what is his state of mind? Samaha. Samaha means mind is peaceful. Of course, a little bit agitation will be there, but he is able to come back. He is able to settle quickly. Samatvam is there. There are very many people who say, I am so spiritual. Why did God do this to me? Now what does this say? Dukkha will come to Mahātmās also. Then who are you? Very many people have this expectation that if you chant this, if you do your puja, if you do your meditation, then no inauspicious things to happen to you. No such things will happen. Everything, whatever is happening to others will happen to you. Then what is the difference? The difference is they are shaken, you remain unshaken. This is the difference. Samaha. So here Sukha Dukkha is not at the mind level, Sukha Dukkha is the external situation. So there are certain situations which are generally Sukha. Success, victory, gain, they are all Sukha. And Dukkha is also there. Death of near and dear ones, failures, loss in business, they are all Dukkha. But what is his state of mind? Sama. And then Swasthaha. Swasthaha means what? Loosely translated, Swastha means healthy. In that way, yes, he is healthy, no doubt. Rather, he is the healthiest person. Swasthaha. Sthaha means firmly rooted. Sthaha. Where? Swa, in oneself. The one who is firmly rooted in one's own self, in one's own consciousness. Such a person is called Swasthaha. Because he is Swasthaha, he is able to have all these qualities. Swasthaha. That's a very nice story. So there was one king who was just conquering cities and villages and all that, along with his huge army. So this emperor was marching forward. All those villages, they were running away because he was very cruel. The instruction given was, whoever is there, just kill them. So as he was walking, he saw one Mahātmā meditating under a tree. So he came in front of that Mahātmā. He asked him, do you know who am I? Without even blinking once, I can chop your head off. The Mahātmā said, do you know who am I? Without even blinking once, I can get my head chopped. There is no greatness in chopping somebody's head. The real greatness is, even when my head is being chopped, I must remain undisturbed. So this Swasthaha. So this strength comes because he knows the body will, body has to die someday or the other. But this consciousness is birthless, deathless. Swasthaha. And then Samaloshtāśma Kanchanaha. Now you will find that all these terms, very many of them, you will find it in second chapter also. Almost repetition. Samaloshtāśma Kanchanaha comes in 6th chapter also, right? Samaloshta Ashma Kanchanaha. Loshta means what? A clod of mud is called Loshta. Ashma, stone. Mud and stone, yes, samatvam is possible for all. But the third one is interesting. What is that? Kanchana. Kanchana means gold. For this Mahātmā, a piece of gold, a piece of stone, a piece of, a clod of mud. They are all one and the same. Among this, which one is the most precious? The precious one is gold. In our eyes. Does it mean that Mahātmā doesn't have any eyes? Is he a cow or what? No. See, there are certain things which we value very much. And what do you value? That which can give happiness to you, that you value, isn't it? What do you value in life? Anything which can give you happiness, you value. As far as a Mahātmā is concerned, what is the source of his happiness? His source of happiness is his own self. In an ignorant person, what is the source of his happiness? there are so many things. And all those things can be purchased by wealth, by money. Therefore, he is valuing money. In the eyes of an ignorant person, wealth is of a great value because a wealthy person, if you have wealth, there are so many things which will get added to you. If a person is wealthy, in the eyes of an ignorant man, he is very hardworking. See all the virtues, how it gets added to wealth. If a person is wealthy, he must be hardworking, he must be intelligent. Making money is not easy. You must have some. So he is hardworking, he is intelligent, he is very smart also. And since he is very wealthy, he is very secure also. Security comes with wealth, isn't it? In a superficial level. Right? And moreover, because he is wealthy, he gets respect from everyone. Isn't respect a source of happiness? Yes. When somebody respects us, don't we feel happy? When we are secure, don't we feel happy? So he gets everything. A person who has wealth, he is able to influence others. He is powerful in the society. Power gives happiness. Influence gives happiness. Security gives happiness. Right? And moreover, a wealthy person can purchase anything. The best things in this world, luxuries, conveniences, they are all very costly. And who can buy it? Only a wealthy person can buy it. Therefore, he has all the comforts, luxuries, conveniences of life. Therefore, definitely he must be happy. This is the understanding of an ordinary man. Right? So therefore, when he sees that there is one thing called wealth which can get you everything, so naturally you start valuing wealth. But as far as this Mahātmā is concerned, what is the source of his happiness? Source of his happiness is nothing related to the world. It is directly related to the self. Therefore, for him, sama loshta ashma kanchanaha. Meaning, a piece of gold can never make him more happy. What we need in life is 2 times food, a resting place and a piece of cloth. Isn't it? How much ever rich you may be, what is it? The basic things to live. For that, you need not have too much of wealth. Not necessary. By God's grace, the most important things to live, they are all almost free. Air is free, water is free. Sannyasis in the Himalayas, they beg and live. Food is also free for them. A piece of cloth will do. Right? And plenty of caves are there. House is also free. And what is the need of this gold and all that? If you have gold, you become insecure. So better leave it. Samaloshtasma kanchana. And moreover, the Mahātmā, no, there is a Bhagavan who is taking care. He will take care of everything. Why should I unnecessarily store things? He knows it. Even from a worldly standpoint also, the real joy doesn't come from your worldly possessions and positions. The real joy, the source is the self alone. Abidance in the self is the source of real joy. There's a very nice story of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. I must have told you. So a woodcutter, he was going into a forest. So he saw a Mahātmā sitting under a tree. He just went and prostrated to him and said, Mahātmā ji, please give me an advice. So what did Mahātmā say? Go deeper. That's all he said. So this woodcutter started thinking, go deeper means where? Maybe he is asking me to go deeper into the forest. Right? Everyone understands the advice according to his mental level. So maybe he is asking me to go deeper into the forest. Okay. He goes deeper. He had faith. Wherever you have faith, results will be there. So what did he find? He found a bronze mine. bronze mine. And with that he became rich. Out of gratitude, he again prostrated. Mahātmā ji, please give me another advice. Mahātmā said, go deeper. And the fellow thought maybe he's asking to further go deep. He went deeper. Now after bronze mine, what should come? Silver mine. Okay. Became more rich. Again he went. Mahātmā said, go deeper. Again he went deeper. After silver mine, gold mine. More rich, stinkingly rich. Again he went, prostrated. Again Mahātmā said, go deeper. After that what? Diamond mine. Chalo, let us finish there. Diamond mine. Became very, very rich. Stinkingly rich. Richest person. So one day he was just lying down. And suddenly one thought struck him. This Mahātmā knew that all these mines were present, but he was never tempted. Whereas I got tempted. That means what? There is something more valuable, precious. That is why he did not go after that, isn't it? That night he could not sleep. There is something higher. So next day early morning he went, prostrate to Mahātmā and said, Mahātmā ji, Swamiji, please tell me, there is something. The very fact that all these things you knew, but even then you did not go after it, shows that there is a higher treasure. What is that? Then the Mahātmā said, if you want to know that, you have to go deeper. Instruction is the same. Go deeper. But now where you have to go? Go within yourself. Real source of happiness is within yourself. It is not outside. Samaloshtasva kanchanaha. Next one. Tulya priya apriya apriyaha. So there are priya and apriya. Even in a Mahātmā's case also, you will see that every Mahātmā will have some kind of preferences. But strong likes and dislikes will not be there. This is the difference. Preferences means what? If he is a South Indian Mahātmā, what will he prefer to eat? Rasam, rice, sambar, all those things. If he is a North Indian Mahātmā, what will he prefer? Chapati, dal and this thing, isn't it? Preferences are there, but there is no, binding desires. So here, though the tulya is used, you have to understand, it doesn't compel him. The meaning here is, his mind is undisturbed. Preferences may be there, but they are not intense desires. What is the sign of an intense desire? If I don't get this, I can't live. I am miserable. There is no such thing. This I prefer, but if I don't get it, that is okay. This is the state. There is no slavery. There is no addiction of any kind. He is able to live with any kind of situation. Tulya, priya, apriya. Whether it is dear thing, agreeable thing, not dear, not agreeable, tulya. Now here you will find the common thing is samatvam. The next one, dhīraha. Dhīraha means what? The one who has dhi is called dhīraha. Dhi means right understanding about life, wisdom. A man of wisdom, dhīraha. Tulya ninda atma samstutihi. So he is living in this world, so naturally he will do something, and those actions will bring in either ninda or stuti. Ninda means what? Criticism. Stuti means praise. So people may praise him, people may criticize him, all those things will happen. What is his state of mind? Tulya. Undisturbed. Why do we get disturbed when somebody criticizes us? And why do we feel elated when somebody praises us? What is the psychology? Psychology is simple. You don't know who you are. Simple. When you don't know who you are, somebody will decide who you are. You will start valuing somebody else's comment upon you, definition of you. So somebody says, you are so good. You go, you go. Somebody says, you are a terrible fellow. Gone. Why is it so? It is because I don't know who I am. Simple. In our school days, I think second standard, third standard, there was a story. I am sure you also must have read it. So there was this Brahmana who goes to a king. The king gives him a goat and he is carrying the goat along the forest. Then 4 thieves they saw and they wanted to steal this goat. So what do? They plan among themselves. See, after every 10 minutes you should cross and then say, this is not a goat, it is a dog. Remember? So then this Brahmana, he thought this is of course, he was very much convinced that it is a goat only. So then the first thief comes. Oh, Mahātmā ji, Brahmana ji, where are you taking this dog? Hey, shut up. This is not dog, it is goat. So first person goes. After 10 minutes again another thief comes. Oh, Brahmana, namaste, namaste. Why are you carrying this dog? Dogs are not to be carried. Now slowly what happens? His faith is shaken. By the time the 4th person comes and says he is convinced that this is not goat, it is, he leaves it and goes and the thieves steal. There is a story. Now this is not a mere story, it is talking about us. Somebody calls you a fool and the fellow is disturbed the whole day. He thinks that he is a fool. All these inferiority complexes come because of that only. Somebody tells you something and you accept it. Why do you accept? Because you don't know who you are. But what about this jnani? He is the one who thoroughly knows who he is. So therefore, ninda, stuti, etc. is nothing but a disturbance in the ether. A disturbance, a sound disturbance, that's all. He doesn't give any value to it. Whether it is criticism or whether it is praise. All the criticism and praise is related to the world. The praise and criticism all belong to the body, mind or the intellect. He knows he is beyond all the three. The next line also is the same. Mana apamanayoho tulyaha. Mana apamana. So what is the difference between mana apamana and ninda stuti? It appears same, but there is a slight difference. Ninda stuti is always verbal. Verbally you criticize, verbally you praise. That is ninda stuti. What about mana apamana? It is physical. So when you are garlanded with a garland of flowers, it is mana. But if the garland is made of chappals, it is something physical. Then that is called mana apamana. You are honored, you are dishonored. What is his attitude? Tulyaha. Absolute objectivity. When somebody else is criticized, praised, honored and dishonored, what is our do we feel anything? Why? Because there is an objectivity. That person is not me. In the same way, this Mahātmā has kept his own BMI separate from himself. He considers his own BMI as an object. So that object is praised, that object is criticized. He doesn't feel anything. To the extent you can develop this objectivity, to that extent you will be unaffected by the ups and downs of life. To what extent you can have this objectivity, to what extent you can disidentify, to that extent your mind will be at peace. Manapamanayoho tulyaha. Next one. Tulyo mitrari pakshayoho. So he is living in this world. He will have some responsibility, some duty. So naturally somebody will like him, somebody will dislike him. Somebody will consider him as his friend. Some others will consider him as his enemy. He is friendly to all, but others may not be friendly to him all the time. So mitra will be there, ari will be there. What is his attitude? Tulyaha. He is the one who has known himself. The one who has known himself has known everyone. So his understanding is, I am pure consciousness with this impermanent BMI. The others are also nothing but consciousness. They are all expressions of the same self. So when he is looking at other person, he is not looking at the superficial personality of the person. He is looking at the essence in that person. He has trained his mind to look into the essence of oneself. So in himself he sees the essence, which is consciousness. So naturally, what will he see in others? He will see the very same essence, consciousness. So he is not limited to the friend-foe vision. What he sees is, it is the very same consciousness expressing in a different equipment. Content is the same, equipments alone are different. So he is friendly to all, he is loving to all, whether it is friend or foe. Tulyo mitrari pakshayoho. And then sarvarambha parityagi, the one who has given up all undertakings, all enterprises. Now what does it mean? It doesn't mean that he has given up all action. He has given up the doership in action. So even when he performs all action, what is his attitude? Bhagwan, I am only an instrument, you are the doer. I am only an instrument. This is his attitude. So when you perform action without doership, those actions don't belong to you. Those actions cannot taint you. It cannot create any punya papa. Thus, he saves himself from all kinds of negativities, defects related to the action. Such a person, Gunātīta sa uchyate. Such a person is called Gunātīta. So what is the common thing? Samatvam is the common thing. And the samatvam is possible for him because of his ability to objectify everything. Remaining rooted in consciousness, he objectifies everything that pertains to the realm of matter. So this is his behavioral characteristics. Now what is the third question? What is the third question? Third question is how to become a Gunātīta. How to become such a person. So that is answered in verse number 26. Let us chant. Mam cha yo vyabhicārena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatityaitan brahma bhūyāya kalpate Mam cha yo vyabhicārena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatityaitan brahma bhūyāya kalpate. How to become such a Gunātīta? Yaha avyabhicārena bhakti yogena mam sevate. The one who worships me, meditates on me. How? Avyabhicārena bhakti yogena. Through bhakti yoga, through full of devotion, faith, love, surrender, gratitude, humility, the one who worships me. What kind of worship it should be? Avyabhicārena, single pointed, unswerving, undiluted, wholehearted. This should be the kind of devotion. Anyone who worships me with this kind of devotion, such a person becomes fit to become Brahman, to realize Brahman. So what is the condition? The condition is devotion for God. Devotion for God. So here Bhagavan stresses the need to develop the heart, the feelings of love and devotion. The one who has this devotion, he becomes fit. Many times what happens is we develop our head. How do we develop our head? Through all this study, through all these intellectual arguments. We understand the scriptures. Logically we understand everything is fine, but still we find that the experience which the scriptures promise, that I have not got. So here Bhagavan places his finger at the real problem. Just because you have intellectually grasped all scriptures, just because you have logically understood everything, doesn't mean you will realize this. Then what has to be done? Bhakti has to be there. Love for God has to be there. Your life should be led in such a way. Only a person who lives a God-oriented life, a life which he always tries to please God, such a person alone will be able to realize this truth. If it is a mere scholarly study, all the scientists would have already gained it. Interesting thing is, most intellectual people, they miss this. People who are very simple, very down to earth, they get it. So what does it mean? It is not mere intellectual jugglery. There is something else. Puji Gurudev used to say, intellectual understanding, it is only 5% of the entire spiritual journey. Developing the head, it is only 5%. Developing the heart take time. That is the most difficult one. Developing humility, developing gratitude. All these things are essential. Unless the heart is blossomed with these divine emotions, such a person cannot intuitively grasp this truth. Heart has to be fully blossomed with devotion. So such a person who worships me. Now the question is, why should we worship Bhagavan? Now this topic actually is dealt in more detail in the 3rd chapter. How to develop this heart. The whole thing is about Karma Yoga. In Karma Yoga, the most important thing is Bhakti. So when we perform all our duties with very clear understanding that whatever I have belongs to God. The body belongs to God. It is alive because of God. Talents and abilities belong to God. The kshetra, the world, belongs to God. The equipments to perform action belongs to God. The opportunity to perform action, that also is given by God. Everything is given by God. Then how can I say I have performed action? How can I take credit for my action? Isn't it? So Karma Yoga is total surrender unto God with this understanding that nothing belongs to me. The 4 things you must always keep in mind. What are they? I am nothing. I know nothing. I have nothing. I can do nothing. Got it? First one, I am nothing. Second one, I know nothing. Third one, I have nothing. Fourth one, I can do nothing. Start from scratch. Start from ground zero. Without this attitude, if you attempt spirituality, it will be a total failure. I am telling this because there are very many people who say, Swamiji, teach me higher meditation. Higher meditation. Tell me, what should I do? Yes, close your eyes. Okay. All asana, everything is done. Padmasana, I am sitting. Okay. Straight. Neck, head, everything is straight. Now, next. Observe your mind. Now the fellow can't observe his mind. Consciousness is different from what? Conscious. Everything is one. Control your mind. Withdraw the mind. Not possible. None of the techniques will work unless the mind has been thoroughly purified by this devotion. You will be an utter failure in meditation. At the most, you will sit and sleep. If you have your quota of sleep, then the mind will wander. That's all. Nothing will happen. If nothing is happening, understand the fundamentals are not. The fundamentally start from total humility. Bhagavan, I am fit for nothing. I am nothing. Please guide me. With this humility, with this gratitude, as you yourself will find, the heart then opens up. There is a blossoming in the heart. All noble emotions are filled in the heart. And when that thing happens, things, whatever is said in the scriptures, start becoming clear to you. When the mind is in rajas and tamas, you can't make out which is consciousness, which is thought, where the mind is going. You will not be able to know anything. But as the mind becomes sattvic, as the mind becomes filled with devotion for God, you start seeing the difference. You clearly start feeling that there is something called consciousness upon which the thoughts are floating. You are able to objectify these thoughts. You are able to observe these thoughts. You are able to handle these thoughts efficiently. Just like the iron. If you want to shape the iron, what is the first thing you do? You don't pounce upon the iron. No. The first thing is heat it. Make it red hot. Then shape it. Isn't it? In the same way, first fill your heart with bhakti. Don't go for this observing the thought thing and all that in the beginning. The first thing is develop enough love and devotion for God. Then after that, everything becomes easy. Everything becomes easy. So when Bhagavan says Bhakti Yogena, it's a very, very important instruction for all of us. Directly don't go for Soham. Start from Dasoham. From Dasoham, you should glide towards Soham. Don't worry about Soham. That Bhagavan himself will guide you. But start from Dasoham. Right. So such a person, Bhagavan says, such a person is fit candidate to realize Brahman. Those who worship me with devotion, they realize Brahman. Now suddenly there is a contradiction. What is the contradiction? Bhagavan, those who meditate on Brahman should realize Brahman. Now you are saying those who meditate on me realizes Brahman. Are you getting the point? Yaha mam sevate brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Those who worship me, they realize Brahman. What does it mean? I and Brahman, they are not two different things. This he makes it clear in the next verse. This is called a Mahavakya. Next verse is a Mahavakya. Brahmano hi pratisthaham amritasya vyayasya cha shashvatasya cha dharmasya sukhasya cha brahmano hi pratisthaham amritasya vyayasya cha shashvatasya cha dharmasya sukhasya cha. Yes, the one who worships me attains Brahman because what? Brahmano hi pratishtha aham. That Brahman exists, rests in me. Meaning that Brahman is none other than me alone. The abode for that Brahman is me. That Brahman and myself, they are not too different. All the other terms are the adjectives of this Brahman. What Brahman? Which is amritasya, immortal. That Brahman which is immortal. That Brahman which is avyaya, imperishable. That Brahman which is shashvata, eternal. That Brahman which is sukhasya aikantikasya, which is absolute bliss. that Brahman which you know as Satchidananda, that Brahman which is immortal, imperishable, eternal, absolute bliss, that Brahman is none other than me, myself. Aham Brahma Asmi. So one who worships me, he realizes Brahman. Now here one more term is used, dharma. That Brahman which is the very nature of all things and beings. So what is dharma? Dharma is that thing without which a thing or a being has no existence. That is how dharma is defined. It's an absolute definition of dharma. Dharma means nature of a thing without which a thing has no existence. Like for example, dharma of fire is heat. Dharma of sugar is sweetness. What is our dharma? This fire, sugar and all is easy. What is our dharma? So what is the definition? That without which you have no existence. What is that? Consciousness. It is a consciousness which is keeping this body intact. What is this body? It is a mixture of 5 elements. This body is intact. It is working. This mind is working. Intellect is working. All of them are matter. It appears alive. Everything is functioning so smoothly. The organs are functioning. Right? Jnanendriyas, karmendriyas, they are all functioning so well. Why is it? Because there is a principle, the consciousness principle, which is enlivening it. The moment that principle goes, the body starts decaying. Bas. So what is the dharma of this body? Dharma of a jiva is none other than Brahman, consciousness or Bhagavan. So what does Bhagavan say? If you want to realize this Brahman, develop devotion for God. And then what will be your experience? You will come to know that this Brahman is none other than my own self. It is none other than me. So this way this beautiful chapter comes to an end. Let us chant the concluding line. Om Tat Saditi Srimad Bhagavad Gitasu Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Gunatraya Vibhaga Yogo Nama Chaturdashodhyayah. Thus concludes the 14th chapter. What is the name of the chapter? Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga. The yoga of the division of the 3 gunas. So here this discussion happened between Bhagavan Sri Krishna and Arjuna. The topic is Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga. This topic deals with Brahma Vidya and Yoga Shastra. Yoga Shastra means the path. Brahma Vidya means the goal. How to reach, where to reach. So Brahma Vidya is the topic discussed. And how to reach there, Yoga Shastra also has been discussed. The content is nothing but the essence of the Upanishads. Srimad Bhagavad Gita so Upanishads. So the essence of the Upanishad is nothing but Bhagavad Gita. Thus this chapter comes to an end. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kasyat Dukkha Bhag Bhavet Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.